Oh yeah. All right. Let's get down to business.
Are we gonna do it?
You want to
talk about this?
You want to introduce it? You can just go for it, Jason.
So kind of the idea we thought of the show might be cool is to kind of touch on. Of course, we have to touch on some of the stuff that came out of Basel, right? But the differentiation in our show is that we always want to kind of talk from a trader's perspective. So not only are we going to touch on some of the stuff that came out, like the watch we're going to talk about next, but also what we think it will do to the market, what you can expect from the watch. Yeah. So without further ado, we'll pull up the first of this piece, which is, I'm sure you guys have already guessed, the Rolex GMT Pepsi.
Exactly. The watch. 15-2, by the way. I'm kicking your butt, man. All right. So there you go. Stainless GMT Master II with the new movement on the Jubilee bracelet. That's the new Pepsi, yeah?
First impression, I was surprised that this watch came out. I know a lot of people were surprised this watch came out. Look at it on the full screen there. Gorgeous piece. That Jubilee, something special. Obviously, you know.
Well, it's the same Jubilee that's on the date
but
right?
You see it on that watch. I mean, it's definitely
nice.
Unique.
It's a great throwback.
It's very cool. I can't wait to see it in person, see what the watch really feels like.
It might be some time.
Yeah, it's, well, you know, we run in pretty good circles, so but it will be some time. So we kind of wanted to get into what to expect from this watch, right? Josh just alluded to could be some time.
Right.
What do we think as far as impact on market? I know we've had some kind of educated guesses around the office, so I'll leave it to you.
Well, I'd say that, okay, so the rumors are that the allocation on this watch to authorized dealers such as ourselves is going to be something similar to the ceramic Daytona. See what happened with that watch. Obviously, there's an insane amount of demand for the Daytona. I think that one thing that might draw back the demand a little bit on this watch is the Jubilee bracelet, right? Because for the most part, people want Oyster bracelet. I mean, you can see we're both wearing them, right? So that might affect it a little bit, but not enough to really put it down. I mean, you have to assume the watch pre-owned is going to be going over list for quite some time. I want to say how many more than a couple hundred phone calls the first day that people are asking us to put them on the list. Not that there is a list or that there's any type of way to keep track of those types of things, but I mean, the market on this watch is going to be crazy. So a couple things, right? So they released this watch. They also released a two-tone. A rose gold two-tone version and a solid gold with what you would call, there we go, we have it queued up. We can go full screen with this too. That has the root beer, which, if I'm not mistaken, that's right. You did.
I called that. Although
you predicted that.
For the record, I called it on the Jubilee two-tone, which I still think will exist soon.
Yeah, if I had to make a guess, I'd put my money on the fact that they're going to make a two-tone Jubilee and release it on the root beer, which that'll be completed. I mean, that's going to be amazing.
The only, I mean, if it would have been nipple markers.
Hey, watch your mouth. It's a family show.
Right? So here's the thing. I will say, coming off of what you see on us, the primary market drying up on like the stainless steel Rolexes after Christmas, and we're riding a wave with the with the Daytona, with the subs, with the Sky Dwellers. Rolex has never been hotter.
Right.
It's harder and harder to get. So when you had watches like the Sky Dweller and the Daytona release, and they were really hard to get, you didn't have this wave. So that being said, I think the fallout for this Pepsi is going to be catastrophic. I think the biggest downfall with this watch on the market is that you just won't be able to get it. Yeah. If I said that I hoped to get a handful, that would be a lie. I mean, I don't think we're going to get more than one or two of these things, and who knows? So. The thing is that I just think the catastrophic release of this thing is just going to be, you're talking years and years. It's not even like the Daytona where you might get one in 18 months. I think you're going to be easy 2 years on this guy. Right,
because there's nothing else like it right now. And in fact, I actually have a customer. So last year he bought a Batman from me, the black and blue bezel GMT, and he was on a quest to put it on a Jubilee bracelet. So this actually, that's right. Yeah, he ended up, there is some sort of like aftermarket conversion you can get with an old style bracelet and all sorts of, it's very convoluted. He did it on himself. Yeah. But so this is the answer to that. What I'd like to see is a hidden clasp version of the Super Jubilee that they have now. Obviously, this one has a sport clasp, so for the Datejust to be a differentiator, I'd love to see a hidden clasp. That would just be unbelievable. I want to just address Daniel Fernandez, who said, I hope they don't talk about the Tudor next. All right, it's coming. Yeah. But, so how does this affect the market? Well, it's to be seen, right? my question is, how does it affect the white gold version, right? Because that always ends up affecting it. We know that the white gold version now only comes in the blue dial. They discontinued the black dial.
Correct.
So there's mixed ideas on these things, right? My first inclination is, dang it, the white gold version is worthless, right? It's not the case right now. It's definitely not the case. I just got word that another dealer offered probably $4,000 more than we've ever paid for a pre-owned white gold version of this Pepsi. The next thing is, how does it affect the Batman, right? And then lastly, how does it affect just the regular black dial version of the GMT? And do they eventually discontinue any of those? Do they discontinue the Batman? Do they discontinue the regular black? I mean, because if you go to the website now, how many versions of the GMT they have? There's a ton.
Yeah.
Right?
I think there's two trains of thoughts on this, like you were saying. I think the first is speculation of the market rising on the black dial, although it hasn't really happened yet on a sales side because it's too new. Holding on to the piece, hoping that it goes up, because it is a discontinued Rolex, right? So discontinued Rolexes traditionally rise.
Right.
It's being pushed out by this blue dial piece. I would argue that the black dial is a handsomer watch, in my opinion.
More handsome, yeah.
I think it's a better looking watch. So for me, the Pepsi bezel pops on that black dial, whereas on the blue dial, kind of it's a little bit more subdued. We haven't seen it in person. We probably won't see one for a little while.
No.
The live photos of this watch, the bezel, I would assume the bezel is the same bezel, but it looks a little bit more purple in live photos. It could be lighting.
I think there is a difference from what I've seen. See, we didn't get to go to Basel.
Right.
George and Brian did. You guys probably saw some pictures and things that they posted on social media and whatnot, and you've seen them all over the place. Looks like the bezel, the blue on the bezel for the stainless is a little bit different than on the white gold, so there is a difference. And see, when we were discussing this in the office, someone brought up a good point. Say this watch sells for, in the beginning, around $20,000. Just assume, okay? If that's the case, so if you're going to spend, say, 20 grand on a stainless version, why wouldn't you spend 25 or just, $26,000 for the full white gold version of the watch? It creates a value play for the precious metal version in that regard. So possibly what we might see is once these start shipping and we really see what the market price is for this watch, if it's up there in the $20,000 range, which that's to be seen. Personally, I think it'll be a little bit below that. I'd like to see it in the teens. Let's not have it go completely insane. But if that's the case, then it might create a boom for the white gold, and the blue dial white golds have not shipped yet. So now, obviously, your only option is the black dial white golds.
Yeah, I would. To go back to your further point, I think I'm ready for the black GMT to be discontinued.
The all black, right?
Yeah, I think that it's time for the Batman to go as well. I'm going to call it
house.
right there. Let's clean house. It's had its run.
Can we get a Coke?
Let's go out on top. Maybe in 2 years.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.